So, Major, if you don't mind, just for the record, and we'll have it on the website, just run through the presentation of crime stats, and then we'll see if anyone else logs on, if there are any questions, and if not, then
Hi, Bob.
it'll be a short meeting.
For some reason, the link that has been posted this afternoon on Nextdoor looks different from the link I've seen earlier. I don't know, that is the reason why people.
Sure. Well, we don't know what's been posted on Nextdoor, but the link that was posted on the city webpage is working.
Yeah, it's the same as on the Nextdoor, but I think I saw a different link. Maybe do you use the same link every meeting, or probably not?
Yes.
It's the same link that we've had for all of the meetings for the last
All of
year,
the
sir.
meeting, right?
And
Yeah.
there's been no changes. We've expanded the address to address some concerns, but there's
Yeah.
been no change to it.
Yeah, I think the one I posted to the community is now I'm comparing the link, they're different.
Just wanted to remind you, please, that we do not have a passcode set up for this at your request quite some time ago. It is by
Yeah.
waiting room only, so there is no passcode associated with the link and the phone numbers.
Yeah, when someone calls, it asks for the meeting ID, by the way. The number that has been posted on the website.
The meeting ID, yes, but not a passcode.
Not the passcode, you're right. It's only the meeting ID. Yeah, you're right.
And that's only by the phone call, correct?
Only phone call, yes.
So if you click on the Zoom link, you get in the waiting room and then we let you in.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I know there are other meetings tonight. Maybe some people are attending those. So if we can, let's just run through our crime stats, and that'll be posted on the city website for anyone who's interested in seeing that presentation.
So Sharon, did you want to start off with page 2? Or I'm not sure how you want to start off.
You let me know where you'd like me to start.
Yeah, we'll start off with page 2.
Are you seeing that?
Yeah, but that's not page 2. I believe that's it right there. So the map that's on the screen just gives you a overview of all the crimes in the city. And what we'll do is we'll go through the slides and we'll break down some of the categories of crime that we've had in the city over the last 30 days, or I'm sorry, over October, the period of October. So we can switch to page number 3. We'll talk about robberies. So far for the month of October, we had 2 robberies, 1 commercial and 1 citizen. The commercial robbery was on October 3rd at 15:26 hours, which is 3 o'clock, or roughly 3:30 in the afternoon. The commercial robbery was at the 4700 block of Cherry Hill Road. It was the Home Depot. Basically was a shoplifting incident in which the suspects were approached by a loss prevention officer, at which time when the suspects produced a handgun and the loss prevention officer backed down, the suspects took the merchandise and fled the scene. The good news is that we identified the suspects. Later on this week, we'll be applying for an arrest warrant for their arrest. The citizen robbery occurred on October 13th at 10:52 p.m. Occurred at Baltimore Avenue and Berwyn House Road. The victim was walking along the construction line, the fence line. 3 suspects approached the victim. They produced a handgun and demanded the property from the victim, which he complied, and the suspect fled the area. We can jump over to page 4. This map just identifies the assaults that we had for the month of October. We've had 8 total assaults. I'm not going to go through each one, but we'll start off at the on October 1st at 10,250 Baltimore Avenue. The victim was sitting in a car. Suspect came up, started masturbating. The victim's boyfriend came out, approached the suspect. The suspect displayed a handgun. The victims retreated. The suspect fled the scene. What's good to note about this, the contract officer got a description of the vehicle. He was able to locate it and conducted a traffic stop and was able to place the suspect under arrest. The suspect was armed with a Glock 32 .357 caliber handgun. So it's a good work by the contract officer. We also had another assault at Baltimore Avenue Campus Drive on October 14th. The victim advised that his vehicle was disabled in the roadway. A front seat passenger from another vehicle, suspect vehicle, displayed a handgun. He was upset that they were blocking the roadway. We were able to identify the suspect in this case, and we have obtained an arrest warrant for his arrest. And the last assault that I'm going to talk about out of the 8, we had an assault on October 22nd at basically at 10:30 at night at Knox Road and Yale Avenue. The victims were walking down the street. The suspects drove by in the vehicle and fired paintballs from the vehicle at the victims. They were struck in the stomach and legs. Long story short is we were able to identify the suspects in the vehicle, and we obtained arrest warrants for their arrest. We'll jump over to page number 5. Okay, page 5 outlines the burglaries in the city. We had we had 2 commercial burglaries and 1 other burglary. So the burglaries we had a breaking and entering at the Potbelly Sandwich Shop, 10,260 Baltimore Avenue. We had another one at Chesapeake's clothing store, which is located at 9122 Baltimore Avenue, which they broke out the glass door, entered the TA and stole clothing. And the other one was on the 9600 block of Milestone Way, which is the apartment project. We can jump over to page 6 regarding theft from autos. I'm not going to just talk about any of them in particular. As you can tell, they're spread throughout the whole city. I'd just like to let everybody know that the holiday season has started. We've seen a great increase in theft from autos. So just if we can pass the word out to everybody, please lock your vehicle. Please don't display any items, valuable items inside your vehicle, because they will break into the vehicles and steal them. And some of these cases were where they stole some tires and trying to think of the word for the exhaust system, but can't think of the top of my head. But anyway, they have sold some items off the vehicle.
Catalytic converter.
Yep, that's it. Thank you. All right, we'll jump over to page 7 real quick. Just auto thefts. As you can tell, they're pretty much spread out. A lot of them are in the area of Old Town over in Lakeland and Berwyn. So just once again, always lock your vehicles. I can't tell you how many times vehicles are left unlocked. Out of the 14, I believe 5 of them were scooters. Kind of easy to steal. So out of the 14 fiber scooters. We jump over page 8, Sharon. It's just the looks at the noise complaints that we're getting. It's just the heat mapping, just to show you the neighborhoods that we're having issues in. Page number 9, please. Just quality of life, same thing. It's the heat mapping. Shows it's almost identical to the noise problems. Let's jump to page 10, please. All right, thanks, Sharon. The map just outlines our field interviews and traffic stops. As you can tell, a lot of concentration on the Baltimore Avenue corridor, along with downtown area, certain parts of Hollywood. I think we had a total of 20 field interviews, which is pretty good for the month. So a lot of good police work. That's all proactive police work right there. And we can just jump to page 11, just gives you the monthly comparison of all the months throughout the year, along with the crime categories. And we can jump to page 12. Just once again, it's the categories of crimes by the month. Just gives you an idea where we stand for the year.
Okay.
And I just want to highlight for the month of October, we've issued a total of 69 citations and a total of 29 safety equipment repair orders to individuals with loud exhausts throughout the city. We also issued 1 student referral at Rhode Island Avenue and College Avenue for somebody possessing an open alcoholic container. And just another thing I just want to talk about just real quickly. On October 12th, we received a call regarding a person riding a dirt bike in the 4600 block of Guilford Road. Contract officers were right down the street. They responded to the area. They were able to locate the suspect. They stopped him. It was determined that the suspect just purchased a bike, which was stolen. He's cooperating with our investigation, but he was issued 3 citations. And this is one of the complaints that one of the council members had over in Old Town. So I'm glad to see that we were able to stop the individual and cite him and have him work with us regarding the stolen motorcycle that he just bought. Just want to just tell everybody, talked about the holiday season, expect theft from autos to increase, robberies to increase. The Diamondback did a story a few weeks ago about the indecent exposures that we're having in the Old Town area. We have made a few arrests regarding those. We're now seeing additional calls come in which some of the calls are not verified, but I appreciate the students calling in. It's something that we don't tolerate, so I'm glad to see the extra calls coming in. And lastly, we're getting a lot of calls for homeless. So I think that's all I have for now. If anybody has any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Major, you mentioned the calls for homeless. Can you explain, and you certainly explained to me and others that being homeless is not a crime, so that of itself is not actionable, but can you explain what can be done and what is done as far as getting homeless people who need some mental health care, in particular, someplace where they can receive that.
Sure, so you're correct. Being homeless is not against the law. It's what you do while you're homeless. So all the seats, the benches that you see throughout the city, those are public spaces. They have a right to be there unless a sign prohibits that. So that's one thing you have to look at. What I advise all the officers to do when they make contact for a homeless person, let's say they're sleeping in a stairwell, the parking garage, apartment complex, entranceway to a commercial building. I ask that number one is we try to get them help. As of today, no homeless person has took us up on the help that we can provide them. Number two is always ask the officers to write a report to document our stop of the homeless person. Because I'll be honest with you, a lot of the homeless, I know last year we had a big problem with a lot of them having body lice. I don't think anybody would want that individual in their cruiser to take home to your family. I'm talking about the officers. So what we normally do is if once we identify a homeless person and he continues to come back time over time, then we will place them under arrest. We're not going to resolve the issue by placing somebody on arrest for being homeless, but after so many warnings, they will be placed under arrest.
Okay, thank you. And for those who joined us a little bit later, we did announce we don't have a special presentation tonight. So, we're devoted the time to talk to police and ask questions and, bring general concerns to their attention. Again, we don't talk about specific cases here, so don't talk about anybody's address or anybody's name or anything, but you can ask general questions about, what police recommend that you do in certain situations. And again, we don't have an additional presentation tonight, so there's time to follow through on your questions. The other thing I wanted, it looks like we have as many people as we're going to have tonight. We've seen a declining attendance in these monthly meetings. So what we're thinking at this point in time is to take a holiday in December. We probably expect fewer people in December because of the holidays and family commitments that normally occur that time of year, and try to rethink how we want to do these meetings next year, whether monthly is too much for most people or, what this group thinks. I mean, this is the group that normally attends. And again, it's gotten smaller over time. So any recommendations you have on how we can improve this community outreach, we'd appreciate that. So you could send me an email or any of your council members. So we'll be talking about that over the next few weeks. But not to take up any more time, if anybody has any questions for Major Colletti or Corporal Lobin, one of our COPS officers, the floor is yours.
May I?
Sure, go ahead.
Hi. Regarding homeless people, I put in the chat a link to the county's Warm Nights program that's distributed among a number of churches throughout the county. These churches rotate hosting homeless people, particularly during the winter. And so there's no public schedule for which churches or other organizations are hosting at a given time. But I just want to make everybody aware of that. I have referred a couple of people to that program. I think if a person needs shelter, if they call community crisis at that number, then community crisis can direct them to Warm Nights programs near them. We have a widespread county, so it may not necessarily be accessible to somebody, a homeless person here in College Park, or it might. So I've referred a couple of people to them. Just want to make everybody aware of that.
That's good. Thank you.
Hey, Bob, can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Bob. Hey, first of all, I apologize for the confusion many of you have. Todd, Stephanie, and I got some others. They tried to join the meeting, but because of the confusion in the link, it looks like the link that's been posted to Nextdoor is different from the link that's been posted to the website of today's meeting. So I apologize for the meeting. I think our staff will look into this. But thankfully we have some of you. Going back to the homeless, I got a couple of comments from our residents. There are some, and multiple times over the past months, at the Gateway Park, both at, I think, on the top floor, where the pavilion is, and also underneath, under the pavilion, there's more than one homeless person could be seen, especially when the winter is coming. I think we'll be probably seeing them. I don't know what has been done. Again, is what we can do to offer help. In the past, there was a homeless person on Route 1 and Greenbelt Road. I believe 2 years ago, the community tried to help that person, tried to even take him to the homeless shelter, but the person didn't want to go. So it is kind of challenging. And they gave food on the street, and he has stayed for maybe 2 weeks there, and then he left. So it's a kind of challenging situation. I don't know what officers have any suggestions to address that.
Homeless is a problem in the region. The reason why a lot of homeless people will stay in a certain area, they're getting money, they're getting items from other people. You can see that all the time. We are aware about the pavilion at Gateway. We've been up there several nights. I know when we were up there, he had his belongings up there in a shopping cart. But since we were up there last, he has not been back. He may come back tonight, may come back whenever, but he's probably been gone now for about a week, maybe a week and a half. There's no suggestions. You can't mandate somebody go get help. You can't mandate somebody to go to a shelter. Unless they're violating the law, there's nothing we can really do.
Yeah, it's challenging.
Yep.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, hi, Fazul, if I may, just to let everybody know that the city does not use Nextdoor for any official communication. That would be on the city webpage.
Yeah, no,
and city
Bob,
social media, and we can't read Nextdoor.
you're right, Mr.
Government
Ryan.
staff aren't allowed to be on Nextdoor.
Mr. Ryan, our communication department actually posted on the city's account to Nextdoor. So it was not private posting. It's official posting.
I'll follow up tomorrow, find out
Yeah.
what happened.
Please do.
As far as Nextdoor goes, I tried to get onto it using the link from the post that the city put in, and it didn't go. And I've been sitting here for like 20 minutes, and then I finally emailed Fazul, and he said, "Oh, try this link," and I came right in. But there were several people that have been having major questions and that would benefit from being in this meeting. And I took it upon myself to invite them tonight and sent them the same exact link. And so if I did reach them, they weren't going to be able to get in here from the link that was on Nextdoor. So that's a possibility. I'm not saying it if they came. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
And we'll follow up tomorrow and find out why there was any difference.
Hey, Bob,
No,
this
it's
is
weird.
Kenneth. What are the laws on vagrancy?
And turn that over to Major Coletti. I think he covered some of it
Hmm.
for homelessness, but is there any
So-
difference
so-
for vacancy?
Janet, so what's your question? Just what are you referring to? It's a very general term.
Well, I understand that, but I'm also thought that perhaps some of the, some of the things that are listed under vagrancy could be utilized to move people on.
Sure. So
You know.
they would have to be violating the law such as trespassing on private property. Then we can ask somebody to move on. If they fail to do so, then they will be placed under arrest for trespassing. There's no trespassing on public property. But private property, yes, we can move people along for trespassing.
And that's the only thing you can do?
Yep. Unless they're violating a criminal law, there's nothing we can do. We can ask people to move on, right? So the city does have the ability to ban somebody from a parking garage. But if they were sitting on a bench, there's no law that says you can't sit on a bench for 24 hours. All right. So
Okay.
the city has parking or sitting benches, parking garage in front of City Hall. And sometimes we're asked, hey, the guy's been out there for 3 hours. There's nothing I can do about that. But if you're trespassing on private property or even on public property, and we have somebody who's going to complain about it, then we can move people along. And if they don't,
Okay.
they can be placed under arrest.
Hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, under the climate today, I don't think a lot of people will ever be convicted of trespassing if they're homeless, unless we have good documentation that they've been told numerous times not to come back, and what they were doing on the property, like in the parking garage. They're using the stairwells as a restroom. I mean, that's a health safety issue, and I would hope that judges wouldn't put up with that. But you have to understand the climate that we're in. A lot of people feel sorry for homeless people. They have mental issues. They have drug, substance abuse problems. So a lot of times it's not a win-win situation for us. But yeah, we do have rights. We have the power to do certain things, and we use a lot of discretion when we're dealing with the homeless.
Do the social services ever interact with you all to provide them assistance?
So as I stated early in the meeting, as of today, I can tell you right now, I don't know one homeless person that wanted our help out on the street.
Well,
So a lot of times when we do our enforcement nights over on University Boulevard, where I call it Tent City, where there could be 10, 12, 20 tents out underneath the power lines where the homeless lives.
I've seen it.
Okay, so we always bring a member from social services with us to offer help. Not one person has taken us up on the help over the last couple of years.
Okay.
But
Okay.
good question. Stephanie?
I just want to confirm that I worked at a church in New Carrollton for over 15 years. People come knocking on the door all the time. And even though I tried to give them information like what Todd said about warm nights, and also community cafe, which is a lunch that they provide every day. Not since COVID, but what we do is donate to Community Cafe, and they give out gift certificates to people to buy food. That program has not restarted. But I didn't get anybody that was wanting to do all that. They just wanted me to give them money. And the priest and I talked about it for a while, and what I did was have small gift certificates, like maybe $5. But then when word got around that I had gift certificates, it was like gangbusters at the door. They didn't want any further assistance. They just wanted the gift certificate. So it's very challenging. It's very challenging.
Yep. Unfortunately, it is.
We have a question in the chat.
You want to read it, Sharon?
Sure. We're being asked whether we should call non-emergency or emergency when persons are observed in Gateway Park.
It's a
Sleeping in-
non-emergency. It's a non-emergency call. They can call the non-emergency number.
And that's at night after the park's closed, correct?
Yes, it says after dark.
So, and I'm pretty sure that is posted that way. So I think the answer was called non-emergency. Yes.
So Fazul, did you talk about any of the issues that have been arising, that have arisen in the comments in next door, about the gunshots, about the car exhaust thing that was going on, and the one lady that I specifically invited, Miss Chase Atwood, about coming. She had mentioned about a specific thing that they can do. I can't even remember. It had to do with the traffic lights, or the speed cameras rather. Todd, do you remember any of that
Yeah.
that was going on? I'm kind of losing it.
Yeah, I think Chase Atwood on Nextdoor had suggested there would be a way to monitor noise violations automatically, if I'm remembering correctly, and I've
Right.
never heard of that.
Yeah,
So I can answer a couple of questions. First, let's clear up the rumor about gunshots Saturday night. Police investigated. There were fireworks.
Right.
So, yeah, please, if any of your neighbors think that there were gunshots or drive-by shooting or something, that's rumor. Police investigated and found that fireworks had been set off. As far as noise monitoring cameras, that technology is being developed, but it's not ready for prime time. We've investigated that. And when the technology is available, first the state legislature would have to pass enabling legislation to let municipalities use that technology, the same as they did for speed cameras. So it's probably something coming in the future. The concept would be, somebody drives by and exceeds a noise limit, that they could get a ticket of some kind. So, but that's not available yet.
Bob, I may want to add on the noise cameras. So, Stephanie, thank you for bringing this up. And I did see Chase's post on Nextdoor and responded there too. So Bob is correct that we need the state of Maryland doesn't have a law that would allow any jurisdiction like a city or a county within Maryland, like College Park, even if you want to have noise camera in College Park, we couldn't do it because Maryland law wouldn't allow us. The state of New York and the state of California and Tennessee, they allow it. The city of Knoxville actually has it. One city in New York and also in California have them as well. So the good news is one of our Maryland state delegations, her name is Delegate Carr in Montgomery County. So she has been working on, she has started very recently, actually, just 1.5 weeks ago, on a draft legislation similar to New York and California laws to have noise camera in Maryland, the state of Maryland. So that bill will be introduced sometime in January in the new session because they just got elected a week ago. So when we have that passed, and hopefully it will pass, then the towns like College Park and other towns can have it. They are kind of following this draft legislation in New York and California as a basis for their law in Maryland. So that's the good news. There is a similar kind of companion bill that our delegation, Maryland 21st delegation, Delegate Lehman is working on another bill to set the noise decibel limit from these cars, because Maryland law doesn't actually have any decibel limit. It only talks about that it is illegal to modify mufflers and cause huge noise, but it doesn't have any decibel limit. So they're putting something, and there are similar laws in other states as well. They're putting some decibel limits, like, I don't know, it's a 75 decibel or something. So once we have both laws, then the noise camera could be implemented, because that will work on which would be the threshold decibel limit. So both delegations actually had joint meeting with some private groups and also police officers on Laurel or somewhere last week and week before. So they've been active. So it's been working on, and once it's come, once it's introduced to, both bills are introduced to the legislature, then we'll get an opportunity to testify first in the committee and then to the House when it comes for the vote. So just to give an update on that. Thank you.
There was a
So-
question in the chat whether the people setting off the fireworks got a citation.
Yeah.
No. So just general information. Police can't charge anyone for setting off fireworks unless they witness them doing so. So it's necessary for residents to call the police when they see someone setting off fireworks and while they're still doing it, or else there would be no charges. Major, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I know a lot of people complain about fireworks, and we do try to enforce it, but I've always been honest with everybody here. When we have 7 or 8 officers working a whole sector to get tied up trying to write citations for fireworks, I just don't have the manpower to do it. I mean, we're dealing with violent crimes every day, serious crimes, but we do write citations, but I'm not aware of anybody writing any citations over the weekend. And while I have the floor, I would ask everybody who uses the Neighbor Next Door app, please make sure the information is 100% correct before you put it on there. We spend a lot of time answering questions that base people receive information on Neighbor Next Door, and it's not correct. And then we have to research it and then end up telling people, what actually really did happen. So it would save a lot of time if just make sure the information's 100% before people put it out there.
And again, just a reminder, we do this, it seems like every month. Posting something on Nextdoor or calling a council member or the mayor or anything doesn't initiate any action by police. You know, if there's a violent crime occurring, you have to call 911. And again, if you find evidence of a crime that happened the night before, if you come out and your car windows have been smashed or your wheels stolen, then you can use the non-emergency number. But if you need police immediately, you have to call 911, and then you can follow up afterwards with Nextdoor and the other blogs to inform your neighbors.
And I will tell you, practically every report of a crime that I see on Nextdoor, somebody replies and asks, did you report to the police? So people are out there, you know, on that mission.
Yeah,
to remind
thank
people.
you. Thank you if any of you are doing
Yeah,
it.
invariably, somebody always does that, and it's the best question, you know.
Yeah.
And I've heard,
And-
you know, I've had people say, well, you know, it's minor. The police aren't going to be able to do anything about it. And I'm like, still, if you report it that way, they can track it, identify patterns, you know. So there are a number of people out there encouraging people to always report to the police. So
Great,
hopefully we'll continue to
thank
do
you.
that. Yeah.
And sometimes people will say, well, I called and I didn't see the police. Well, you know, we have unmarked police vehicles in the city, and also when that information is broadcast, then police in the surrounding neighborhoods can be on the lookout for if you give a good description of a vehicle or someone, then, you know, it's not just the officer who comes to your house, but the others in the area that are looking for that. So thanks for those reminders.
Hey, Bob, if I can, so I don't have to send you a separate email. The dumping complaint today on 52nd Avenue, just so you know, the cameras did not capture anything. So a report was taken.
Okay, thank you. Major's talking about, we had some significant dumping of tires and other debris. And a home nearby had some ring cameras and such, but apparently they didn't capture any evidence.
Bob, where is it on 52nd? Which intersection? It's a long street. Which intersection?
I don't have that 100 block
Okay.
in front of me right now.
There was dumping in somebody's house?
No, on vacant property.
Oh, okay.
Hey, it was the 9900 block of 52nd Avenue.
Okay. In our district, District 1.
So I just remind everybody the holidays approaching, and Officer Lobbin, if you want to jump in here, listen, holiday season is always bad for us. Crimes go up. Tell everybody, please lock your doors, take your valuables out of your car, know your surroundings. One thing that we've noticed in Division 1 that we're having a big problem with is a lot of people are getting their vehicles stolen or their items taken out of their vehicles while they're pumping gas. So when you go to pump gas, and this is happening during the broad daylight, make sure all your doors are locked. Don't leave your keys in your car with your car running. Don't leave your purse on the front seat and then the doors are unlocked. What they do is while your back is towards the car, you're pumping gas, they open up your door, take your purse, and they take off. A lot of times they take your car. These are some of the things that we're noticing right now. I think it's going to get worse. ATM machines, you know, I always recommend people not to use them, but go inside the bank and get your money if that's what you need to do. So just, I mean, basically, I just want to let everybody know, just be aware of your surroundings. It's a holiday season. People like to take advantage of other people. And you got to keep your guard up. Stephanie, go ahead.
And just a comment on fireworks. We're heading into a season where some communities close by will be shooting off commercial grade fireworks on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So it could be happening a couple miles away and you're going to hear it. And as someone mentioned, you know, your pets could be traumatized too. So there's not a lot that police and county fire marshals can do because they're chasing these calls all over the county. And, you know, when they get there, you know, there's evidence that something was shot off, but people who shot them off may be long gone. So just be aware. You're probably going to hear it Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. I know I live a couple miles away in the other direction, and you know, it's like 4th of July on those holidays these days. So you may, if you have pets, you may want to buy some. I'm not sure what the term is. I call it doggy Valium. One of my daughters is a veterinarian, and she
Doggy Prozac.
yeah. So those kinds of things are available if it helps your pets deal with this. But as I say, it's not a lot police and fire marshals can do to prevent that, and it's rare that they catch people in the act.
Okay, well, this wasn't last year, but the year before. And during the holidays, Christmas Eve and New Year's, the fireworks went on for hours and hours. Didn't have it happen. There was a lot of whining and belly aching about it. Did I know the exact address? Nope. I could have called, and the thing that I should have done is just got in the car and just drove around to find out the house that was having the party and setting off the fireworks. Don't do that, Bob.
No, please don't confront anyone.
Oh, no, I wouldn't confront. I would just find the house and then call it in.
I see.
I should have done that, but I didn't. But if it ever goes on like hours and hours again, I'll definitely. Since then, we've identified 2 houses that do a lot of fireworks. And if it starts going off, we'll call. We'll call and give the address. But nevertheless, what I was going to refer to is what the major was saying about gas stations and pumping gas. I've gotten to the place now where the time before last, when I went to get gas, I was approached 3 times while pumping gas for money. And I keep the car locked up. I go, keep everything secured in. But it's unnerving when you're trying to do that. You've got your card out and you're trying to do the machine and pump your gas and stuff. The 3 times, the three people that approached me, that was unusually high. Usually if it's anything, it's just one person, but I just wanted to bring that home too.
Well, I mean, Stephanie, that's a good point. People got to be made aware of their surroundings. You don't know why people are approaching you. They may be asking for money. Well, I'll be honest with you. One person can talk to you about asking for money, and the next guy's in your car taking your purse out. So always be aware of your surroundings. It's very important. We always notice there's an increase in crime during the holiday season. So always be careful. Any other questions? Hey, Corporal Alban, you got anything for the group? Good for the order?
No, I would just recap on what you said. I know individuals are gonna order things on Amazon. If you can, probably try to send it to maybe an in-law or neighbor that possibly is home. Also, I would suggest maybe getting the ring. That would help with deterring. You can also use the Amazon boxes. I know it's a little bit inconvenient, but this may also safeguard and try to curtail a lot of the theft packages that we were having. And we're going to start to see it now that they're going to be more and more e-commerce of people shopping online. So we would definitely employ people to use some of these strategies. Also, if you're going to go to the mall and you're going to purchase a lot of items, we would suggest you put them in the trunk of your vehicle. I would then also tell you to relocate that vehicle maybe to another part of the mall. So, and then go back in and finish shopping. Don't leave your vehicles unsecured. Don't leave your items on the seat or within plain view for an individual to take, because it's all about his motive and what motivates him. So I know we have a lot of issues in College Park, but a lot of people say, hey, they feel safe and they don't lock their car doors. But if you're gonna not lock your car doors, you're kind of always gonna leave this guy an easy way of trying to manipulate us and take advantage. But if you guys lock your doors, that would probably curtail maybe 30% of the theft from autos that we're going to have, as well as removing items from the vehicles, which could be, i.e., cell phones, i.e., laptops, purses, and anything of value. So anytime you get out your car, just always just turn around, look back, take a quick look, see if you see anything that might possibly be of interest. You know, it's just a good rule of thumb to put it away, slide it under the seat, or just lock it in the trunk of the vehicle. But like I said, you can also purchase the ring. It's kind of inexpensive. I think they're like almost $100. But they are great detective tools to help with, you know, probably identifying a criminal if you are a victim of any crime or even your neighbors. Are
Yep.
there any questions for me?
Bob, Laura has a question in the chat.
Yes, go, Miss Laura.
Sorry. I was just wondering if you've encountered any reports of skimmer machines on any of the ATMs in College Park.
I know we had an issue. I think Major Coletti, didn't we get a report of it? And I think you had sent investigation. Was that a skimmer that they did find, sir, or no?
I don't recall one in College Park.
Okay.
I mean, we've had them in different locations,
Mhm.
but I don't recall of any of them in College Park.
Okay. Yeah, last week I was with Detective Sheehan from the Financial Crimes, and she says that is a growing trend. What she really suggested to curtail the skimming is to use Apple Pay or use your Google Pay when you go to your items, when you go to a store and pay with these items versus scanning your card. Because when you're swiping it, the way they're putting this instrument on it, when you swipe it, it's reading your card. And then she's saying they're even so sophisticated that they're putting a camera that's over top of it when you're punching in your keys, that he can go back now and follow your transaction. And that's how they're able to use your cards against you. But she said the only way now to defeat them is probably to be able to use your Apple Pay. So when I purchase gas, I just get out of my phone. I have an iPhone. I click it 3 times or 2 times, and then the wallet will have my credit card in it, and I purchase my gas that way, and versus swiping my card and just trying to minimize our exposure. You know, we do a lot of e-commerce shopping. You know, big box stores, they're also at times hacked. But I think if we all kind of do our part, we can try to minimize this and to these guys figure out another way, but we're always going to be one step behind them. But I would definitely strongly suggest using your wallet on your phone. You can put your credit cards, you can put your bank cards, and just use it when you go. It's like a tap, so you can use it at a lot of vending machines, a lot of big stores. The only stores that don't allow you to do it is Home Depot, which is my favorite, but they don't allow you to tap. You have to use your card. But that's usually how I purchase things.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
just remember, Laura, you can take if you're using the ATM machine, take your hand and kind of cover up the numbers above the keypad. Usually the cameras are above it. So if you put your hand up there and kind of punch it in, you should be able to block somebody from seeing the numbers, your code.
Excellent point, Major. Excellent point.
Bob?
So I'll have to admit and give warning. Snail mail can also be a problem these days. I treasurer for a local organization, and I mailed a check in the US postal box, which was actually located at the bank door. And before that check arrived at its intended destination, it was stolen, and the pay to name was washed and a new name put on the check, and another bank cashed it. And so I had an opportunity to meet with Sergeant Sheehan of the fraud unit, and they're working on that case too. So, if you're going to mail something, I've been told it's best to go inside the post office to mail it. And rather than mailing checks around, if you can pay electronically, that's probably safer. So.
And Bob, you got a good point. It's just make everybody aware that, listen, a lot of our postal carriers have been robbed of their keys, their master keys to go into all the mailboxes. And so Bob had great point, great suggestion. If you're going to mail something, go to the post office and go inside and mail it. A lot of keys have been stolen in the metropolitan area, actually in a lot of cities across a lot of different states. It's a major problem now. I just make the recommendation, take the time. If you're going to mail something like that, go inside the post office and mail it. And Sharon, I just saw your chat. It's kind of hard for me to respond back, but if you want to talk about your incident, I think that this is just good information for people to hear and how to prevent crime, but by all means, jump on.
Well, it's not necessarily a preventative measure, but the county's emergency webs, you can now report crimes on the emergency website. So it's my 911, my PGC 911. I'm sorry, I'll get the proper address for you. But I had an experience a couple of months ago where I had too many items in my hand and thought I had locked my car door. I actually live in the district, but not in the Division 1, but not in College Park. I left my vehicle unlocked overnight, and someone helped themselves to what I call my toll change. They got in my console and just emptied out the bin and got less than $5 in coins. Fortunately, they didn't damage the vehicle. I was able to download the video from my doorbell camera and submit that. I don't have a Ring. I actually have an Arlo, but very, very similar process. Downloaded the video and submitted it to my cops officer, and then went to the county's website, entered the information, and within 10 minutes, I received a phone call from an officer who confirmed what had happened and asked if I was on, actually the site asks if you're on scene and you want to be seen by an officer at that time, and just took some information, and I received an incident report number so that if anything comes up, that it can be tracked through the county's police services. But it was very smooth, and there's a lot of information, like if there's something you suspect going on in the neighborhood, you can report that, and officers have an easy way to track that information and track what's going on in the community. And if you don't want to be contacted, you don't have to be. So I will get get the link and put it in the chat before the meeting's over.
And so let me just, Sharon, I failed to mention this to you. Last Thursday, they had to take it offline. I don't think it's back online again. They were having issues with it. Hopefully I'll get a status report this Thursday, whether it's back up online or not. But I know last Thursday they had to take it down. So hopefully it's back, but I have been told that it's back up and running again.
I'm sorry to hear that because it was very smooth and thorough. It took me, you know, a total of 10 minutes from the time I started entering to hear back from an officer. So hopefully they'll smooth that out.
Yep. I agree with you 100%.
It was mentioned, I'm sorry, when Mr. McGowan spoke to this group several months ago. So if you want to double check the recording, it's also there on the city's website for those of you who view the recordings there.
And that is, I used that same reporting system to report the mail fraud incident. And it's very, very convenient. You know, and you're not stuck at home waiting for an officer to come take a report. You know, you can make the report online, and as Sharon said, you know, police will follow up to that. So it's as I say, you know, when you call for an officer for a non-violent incident report, you have to wait for the hierarchy of needs or whatever it's called to be followed. So if you want to report a stolen vehicle, you have to wait for police to respond to all the homicides in progress and all those kinds of higher order crimes. But the online stuff is you fill out your report, you give the information, and police will get back to you.
It's called a non-emergency dispatch reporting.
Well, I'm glad that it's working. It was working well. You know, 2 good positive feedback from it. It definitely will help out the patrol officers who have to take every report. So I think that's great. So I'm glad to hear it, and hopefully the system's back up and running. I'm just wondering.
It looks like it's up.
It is up. Okay,
Yes,
maybe
yeah.
they fixed it. Hey, Bob, since there's not many people online, do you want to just get some input from people to see what they would like to see in these meetings? Would they like to see it every month, every quarter? Is there something that they're not getting that we can provide them? Todd, do you mind sharing your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm happy to. In fact, I was just writing Bob and Fazlul a note, but I will tell you what I'm putting in the note. I'll send you the email too. You know, I had told Fazlul this a while back. I think having a featured topic at every meeting creates interest. I think it's good to allow people to bring their own issues at every meeting, but having a short topic that constitutes a third or a half of every meeting creates interest. But I also think it would be good to publicize that topic comprehensively. So, and I have a list of suggestions for Bob or whoever at the city. But, you know, like featuring the topic on the public safety meeting page, you know, so the people who go there looking for the Zoom link, they see the topic, or and also putting it on the city calendar. We have entries for this meeting on the city calendar, but there's no specific information. And if the topic, if I'm, you know, if I'm thinking about attending this meeting next month and I go to the December entry or November entry or whatever on the calendar, and I just see you know, I don't see an entry to any details about what's going on, that I may not be interested. But if there's a topic there, it might get me interested. And then posting it on social media. I did see Rhino Quinones, you know, posted on Nextdoor this meeting, but there was no topic since we didn't have a special topic. Social media is where people are at, and you know, posting on Nextdoor, Facebook, Instagram, I think would tend to get people's attention. The other question I have is I thought these meetings were fairly well attended earlier this year. But after the summer hiatus, it's been pretty sparse. And I just wonder if taking a summer hiatus is a mistake, where people get out of the rhythm of monthly meetings, and just forget about it. 3 months later, oh, who are, maybe people have forgotten that we have public safety meetings. So, and in fact, I wonder if there are public safety issues in the summer that would be good to have public safety meetings for. People are outdoors a lot more during the summer. So those are my thoughts. Is just and I think the topics could be derived from these meetings. Tonight we've talked about homelessness, something that I've never heard discussed at these meetings. So if homelessness is an emerging issue, then maybe that could be the topic for the next meeting that's held. Maybe somebody from Community Crisis Center could come, could attend, for example. So those are my thoughts.
So no, Todd, I definitely appreciate it. And just so you know, I know Bob does a great job trying to get guest speakers to come to the meetings every month. But, I hate to say it, we have so many meetings that we attend that a lot of times people just aren't available for tonight. But I know Bob does reach out to a lot of people, fire department and a lot of other organizations. But I appreciate what you said, because maybe we can try to get somebody from the crisis team to come speak about homeless. That's just one out of 12 months we can knock out. But no, I appreciate that. Stephanie, how about you? You got anything?
Sorry, I was getting into those. Yes, I think Todd made some excellent points. I like the point about what's going on in the summer, and then we had the hiatus during the summer. I was thinking along the lines of the still staying with Todd with the warm nights and community cafe. We can there in the. These are all umbrella for and I wish I could remember the name of the community, the name of the organization that takes care of this, but they have people that would also come in and talk, dealing with the homeless issue. And, maybe they have some insights that they want to let us know. So, yeah, I think that the December, schedule would probably be good to for the holiday to skip a meeting. But I'm thinking Todd made a good point about that going on during the summertime, as far as I in my opinion.
Sure.
That's about all I.
So I haven't heard from somebody. Daniel, or you have anything for the group? Steve Z, you got anything for the group?
Can you hear me?
Sure.
Yeah, so this is the first time I joined, so I didn't have any expectations. But yeah, it's good to join, I believe.
Well, thank you for jumping online. We appreciate it. And if you ever have any questions, please reach out to us. Somebody that's just has a phone number listed, the last is 1249. You got anything for the group?
Yeah, that would be Kenneth Termine.
That would be me. Kenneth.
Yep. You got anything for the group? Any thoughts?
I think pretty much everything's been covered. I do agree with the homelessness issue. That does need to be discussed because it's coming more open. It's not hidden like it used to be.
Okay. Well, thank you. Steve Z says no comments. All right. And Laura, you have anything for the group? Any thoughts?
I was just wondering, do you rotate the days of the day of the week that this meeting is held? Because I was just trying to figure out why I don't join very often. I don't think I've been able to make a meeting since last year. And I wasn't sure if it was just the day of the week, or is it always Monday?
We've always held it on the second Monday.
Okay,
And actually, we talked about that in-house, whether Monday's the best night, but the city council meets virtually every Tuesday night.
yeah,
So they can't attend on Tuesdays, and a lot of the city's boards and committees meet on Wednesday and Thursday nights. So people who are involved in those aren't available. But we're open for ideas. If there's a best night for most people. I mean, there's also the Police Coffee Club, which meets in the mornings on Wednesday. Corporal Logan, what is that? Which Wednesday?
It's the second and fourth Wednesday of every month.
Right.
Unfortunately, we're not going to meet anymore for November because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So our next meeting would be December 14th.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would,
So
and we meet between the hours of 9 and 10. It's all virtual.
Right. So people who are able to work from home or retired or just have flexible schedule, if they wanted to join this kind of a meeting on those Wednesday mornings, if that works out better than nights for.
yeah, I guess I didn't realize that the coffee things were virtual. That's good to know. I thought you were still meeting like at Mom's Market and Starbucks and those places. Thank you. Thanks for, I think this is important, so I hope you keep doing it. And now that I know it's consistently on the second Monday, I'll just book out the next, 6 months in my calendar and I'll know. And just thank you to Corporal Logan for all his hard work, and Major Coletti, we appreciate it. And Bob, thank you for your efforts too. And Fazlul is my link to everything College Park. So I appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Well, we definitely preach the community support and the outreach. It helps us out to hear what's going on and what people think. So I definitely appreciate it. Todd, I definitely like your suggestion about the homeless and maybe some other things. If you have it, you can shoot to Bob and we'll try to get some other people. I think the more guest speakers that we can get, the better it is. I don't want to do all the talking every week. I do. I mean, it's just my third meeting for tonight. So I get, I say the same thing over and over and get kind of tired, but I do like having guest speakers and getting more people involved. I think that's the best way to do it. The more people involved, the better it is.
So
we
next one will be January, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
January.
that's our
plan.
Okay.
Right, Bob?
that's our plan now.
So it'd be like the 9th.
Okay, I'll try to bring some friends.
Please, yeah, if everyone would bring friends, that would be great. We could. If we could get up to a couple, a few dozen people attending these, that would help spread the information.
Yeah, I'd like to add, Todd and others actually do fantastic jobs on Nextdoor and social media. Every time they see someone complaining about crime, they do ask them to attend this meeting, and probably we can actually post the link and a specific date so that I can put this in the calendar. But I also like to commend Todd on his suggestion about advertising or promoting the topic-based meetings on our social media. That's on our side. That probably we can do something like for example, a couple of months ago, we had a meeting on rats in the community, remember, Bob? And that was very well attended, and that's probably promoted in a different way. People are very, very much interested. So if you could use that as a model, if you could, for example, if you have homelessness, probably you can have a flyer with a homeless person sitting on a bench or somewhere, and that could probably attract people's attention. It is the media thing, and probably we have an excellent staff in the communication department, and they can do a fantastic job. So just an idea.
We wouldn't want to post a picture of anyone, of any real person.
Some clip art, that's all.
I'm not suggesting to post on the pictures, but in some way that other ways probably could attract people's attention. Thanks, Bob.
Well, Bob, I think it doesn't look like we have any other more questions. We can probably call it a night. If I don't see anybody until January, I would just wish everybody happy holidays, stay safe, and if you need something from me, by all means, please let me know, and we'll try to help you out.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I'm glad we didn't have a special topic tonight, because we've certainly been able to spend the time in conversation with Major Coletti and Corporal Loban. So thank you all, and good night.
Thank you.
Right.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Happy
Yeah.
holidays.
Good night.
See you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.